Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Real Arsenal Talk with Stevie and Larry. Stevie, how are you doing, my friend? How are you on this fine Sunday evening?
Yes, I'm very good, Larry. Better than last week. For all those listeners out there, I am very, very not flat.
Yes.
But yeah, how are you, sir?
Well, the flatness obviously came from Arsenal losing. That's what it was from. But this time, we got rid of that. So, but okay, just obviously before we came on air, we were having a discussion about dreams and stuff. And because you're a dream lover, right? And there's going to be other dream lovers out there. So if you're listening, what's going on? Say hello to me in your dreams. No, so for a while, I mean,
yeah, I'll just refresh any listeners out there.
Go on, do it.
Basically, I'm fascinated by dreams, and one of my fascinations is if you were born in a certain country, and in Larry's case, it's Albania, but whether it's Albania, whether it's Russia, whether it's France, or wherever, my fascination is, do you dream in your native language, or do you dream in the English? Obviously, because you're England, you're English. You live in England.
You are England.
You're Stop ruining it now.
This is England, yes, go on.
Yeah. So, do you dream in English or do you dream in your native tongue? But Larry was telling me, but I will let him do it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been here for 25 years. Next week, actually, it'll be 25 years.
So it's 25 years, and you are currently how old?
So I'm 35 this year.
35.
September this year, I'm 35.
You spent 10, 11 years in Albania, right?
9 years, to be precise.
9 years.
9 years,
okay, to be exact, right. So you spent 9 years in Albania. And when you first moved to the UK, how long? So did you know English before you came to the UK?
No, I think...
So you learned English purely when you landed, effectively?
The only languages that I could speak, even though I was a child, I could obviously speak Albanian. I knew a bit of Italian. And I could speak German. By the time I came to the UK, I could actually speak German because I lived in Germany for 4 months prior to that. But yeah, they were the only languages. English, no. They don't speak a word of English.
So how did you learn English? Just quickly for everybody. So obviously this is an Arsenal podcast, but we just wanted to briefly talk about dreams and the various ways of dreaming in different languages.
Well, it links nicely with our dream of winning the Champions League and the Premier League. So there we go. We're just extending that dream talk. So no, I mean, look. For me, because I was 9, I started school like a month or 2 months after arriving in the UK. Do you know what I mean? After we were settled up north, so I started school straight away. And I'll be honest with you, those first 2 months before the summer break in 2001, I genuinely do not remember how I communicated with people. Like, and that's hand on heart, by the way. I genuinely do not remember how that communication came about. But then when I started year 5, I could speak almost fluent English.
Wow.
But yeah, which is again very weird because it's not something that I'd ever thought about, to be honest. I never took any classes for it or anything like that. It was just, go to school and you just pick it up, and that's what I did.
So did you have an interpreter? Did you have an interpreter? Did you have anyone sat next to you interpreting things? Like, did you have like sort of a help, or it's an interpreter effectively, is it? But did you have anything like that?
So I do remember my first week, yes. But I think that was just to get me settled in with the other friends in the group and whatnot. But to be honest, they were all nice. Like from what I remember, they were always like helpful, with me and guiding me and stuff like that when we first moved. But yeah, in terms of the language though, it's not something that I'd say, oh, I took these classes and I learned it. No, it was just, go to freaking school and then you learn it from there. But yeah, in terms of the dreams, I think after maybe the first 3 years of being in the UK, it's shifted to dreaming in English because that is the language that I was speaking mostly. And obviously the brain is sort of like, oh, okay, well, that's how you communicate. So that's how I'm going to do your dreams for you. But, it is literally just like that. But
do you ever flip from Albanian to like English?
In dreams?
In your dreams?
No.
Could you remember your dreams? You not like think, oh, well, or do you ever travel to Albania in your dreams? Are you ever in Albania?
No,
And if you're in Albania, do you speak in Albanian or do you speak in English?
So when I go to Albania, I speak. I'm bound to speak Albanian because
No, in your dreams.
In my dreams, no, I don't travel to Albania in my dreams because that's just sad, man. Out of all the dreams that you could travel to, out of all the places, why the hell would I travel to Albania?
It's your home country, man.
But no, okay. So an interesting point then is that when I do randomly dream of like deceased relatives, like my grandma, for example, from my mum's side, I remember communicating with her in English in my dreams, which is very weird. But then again, it's not really because everything is just manifested in your own brain. Do you know what I mean? It's not like
So she's purely Albanian and didn't speak English.
No. Like,
But you communicate in English.
with her in my dreams, yeah.
Fascinating.
Which is yes and no because in terms
Does
of
she communicate back?
yes, but she communicates back in Albanian.
But you understand her?
And I understand that, and I reply back in English.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
I mean, even in my normal day, for example, we've got a couple of people who are Albanian who I work with, and when I'm with my normal colleagues, my English colleagues, and I see this guy, he'll say hello to everyone in English, and I'll say hello to him in English, but then immediately I'll change to Albanian, and they always say the same things, like, oh, fucking hell, as if you can do that. It's like, well, yeah, but, it's not like learning a language French or Spanish, it's my mother tongue, for God's sake, I had to speak it.
I think what's fascinating for me is the dream state is obviously your subconscious kind of thing. You're not conscious, whereas when you're conscious and you communicate, I think that's quite easy to do. Yeah. Like flitting from language to language.
Of course, yeah.
The fascinating thing for me is your brain, and then it's your subconscious aspect of it. And obviously, the fact is that you were speaking to your grandma in English, but she was replying in Albanian. Now, that's fascinating to me. It's fucking spooky as. Wow.
Well, there you go, people. I have got a fascinating brain. If you want to know more about it, wait until I die, and then you can use it for science. There you go. But no, I will say one last thing though on the dream conversation before we move on. Last year, when I went to Albania with my wife, before we found out that she was pregnant, there was a couple of instances where I felt in me that there was there was a difference there. I didn't immediately say she's pregnant, but I felt something like yeah she could be. And what topped it for me was a dream that I had, which by the way I don't dream very often, but when I dream it's like okay, that thing is almost real. And I dreamt that we were sat in a restaurant and she ordered milk and rice, like rice pudding sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like what you would potentially feed,
pudding.
yeah, baby food. And literally, and I said to her the next day when I woke up, I said, "This is the dream that I had." I said, "I'm pretty sure that you're pregnant." And then we did the test a couple of days later when we arrived in England, and obviously turned out that she was. But yeah, so that's how weird dreams are.
Premonition, yeah.
And my sister, by the way, she's a witch when it comes to that type of shit, like a witch. So we don't, whenever she goes, "Oh, I had a dream," we're all like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, what is it? Is it good or bad?" Like, we can't be asked with this shit. She's a gypsy, by the way, so there you go. As is the whole family, apparently. But I hope everyone's found that fascinating, the dream talk.
And everyone hasn't switched off.
And no, to be honest, it's a fair point though. Like people out there who were born in a different country to the UK. That's an interesting point. Like how do you dream? I think it all depends on how long you've been here. Because I was a child, it made it easier for the transition. But I think if you're an adult, you're always going to have your brain's always going to speak in your mother tongue, even though you can speak the other language. But it's like you said, the unconscious side of it, subconscious side of it, sorry, is going to be the mother tongue. So yeah,
I think it would be interesting to say sort of if I decided to learn another language, not visit another language, but visit another language, visit another country.
I think you need to visit English first.
I think that weeds, obviously. Sorry. No, but do you know what I mean? If I was to
learn another language,
learn another languge, would I begin to dream in English?
No.
In that language?
No, absolutely not. No, because unless you moved to that country and you speak in that language like on a daily basis, whereas it's your main language wherever you are, I don't think that's the case, because again, like I said, you're only learning something. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like for example, you learn history, but you don't dream about history. You know what I mean? It's something that you've just learned and you've added to yourself. Whereas like the mother tongue is something that you were born with. You know what I mean? Like yours is English. That's it. Like that is your mother tongue.
So I'd have to move to like Russia or Albania and then start dreaming in Russian.
I mean, if that's what pushes people to go to Russia and Albania so they can dream in those languages, yes, by all means. It's a very good tourist destination for Inception lovers, by the way. If you want to do some Inception work, then Albania and Russia are clearly the places for you. There you go. Brilliant. Well,
swiftly moving on.
I'll tell you what. I didn't expect to spend the first 10 minutes of this podcast talking about dreams, DreamWorks, and whatnot.
There you go.
There you go.
It's
it happened.
Pod altogether. Isn't
I love it. I love it. It just brings the humanity out. You know, we're not robots at the end of the day. We are humans. We talk to each other about normal things. It's not like, you know, greeting each other with "Hi, Arsenal." Like, it doesn't work like that. We're just, you know, normal people. Anyways,
Let's do the same about Arsenal.
Yeah.
We say every week. So let's just spice it up, baby.
I mean, yeah, let's just add a bit of Kashmiri chili on that, and then we'll spice it right the fuck up. But unfortunately, that's not what we did against whoever the fuck we played. Newcastle. There it is. That's how much interested I was. How we the lads? Yeah.
We're gonna do that too.
Stevie, Newcastle have been a bogey team for a while, even though we have been successful against them this season. I think maybe this was the third time, if I'm not mistaken. Did we play them in the League Cup, FA Cup? Did we not do that? Or was that last year?
No.
Can't remember. But we have been better. We have been better against them this season, which is always a positive, because this was one of the teams that we discussed. I think it was around November, December time, where we said if we can get past like Villa and Newcastle, and I think it was Everton at the time as well. You know, those are the bogey teams that we'd fallen short last season, and yes. We did that. We beat them. Okay, it was 1-0. But what did you make of it, man? Like, you know, as a quick overview, what did you make of the match against Newcastle at home? May I add? Yeah, maybe that makes things worse. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that was we did a double over them, and it's the last time in 5 years. I think 2020 or 2021 was it? Mm-hmm. The last time we did the double over them. So they have been a bit of a bogey team for us, and I think on the last pod. I was kind of nervous about this game, and yeah, we had a great start, but after that, I mean, I think the Havertz injury didn't help, but yeah, I mean, all that matters is the result at the end of the day, isn't it? Like we've always said, but performance-wise, it was. You're not expected it to be free-flowing at this stage of the league, season, especially. You know, the last time we won the league was 22 years ago, something like that.
22 years, yeah.
22 years. So you can't expect us to be free-flowing Harlem Globetrotter, Man City kind of esque in the heyday, because, you know, it's a nervous time of the season. Mm-hmm. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, because we started off quite good, and I think after the Man City defeat, we all thought that we were going to play a lot better, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We all thought we were going to really go for it, and we did start off okay, but you know what happens when them nerves start clicking into place. The fear factor.
I mean,
fear.
I like the way that you put that. You know, it is coming up to the end of the season, and it's very slim chances that you're going to go out, you know, all guns blazing, trying to beat every team 4-5-0, 6-0, whatever it is. It's not going to happen, and especially when you consider our Arsenal team this season, you know, which has been nowhere near that. In all fairness, I know we used to have, you know, at the beginning of the season we were playing matches and we were scoring first, and then just, you know, adding maybe one or two and then just closing matches down. But then, you know, in 2026 that hasn't happened. You know, this calendar year so far, we've been probably the poorest that we've been in a very long time. And again, it's the wrong time for it to happen. You know, when you actually think about it, it is the run-in. This is not the time for you for the team to do this. Why can't we have this in like November time, like City, and then when it comes to the run-in, we actually go all guns out. But yeah, so it's interesting that you put it that way. But unfortunately, with our team this season, it's just been. That's been the norm, really, hasn't it? Like the way that we played there, I can't even sit back and be like, oh yeah, that was a clinical sort of performance where we just needed the 3 points, because it just wasn't. It was a performance where, I'm not even kidding, if Newcastle had a bit of luck on their side, that game would have swung the other way, maybe a 2-1 to them or something. But yeah. Is
I mean,
sorry.
like you say, it was a. It could have gone either way, and if it wasn't for Wiss's poor finishing, then yeah, we would have been either sat with a draw or a defeat. And yeah, it's since the turn of the year, like you say, we've been pretty poor, but we're still top of the league, and that's testament to the fact that either everyone else is shite.
Yeah.
Or we there's 4 games to go. We're top of the league, and as bad as everyone paints this picture of us, we're still there.
We are still there, and I think on the last episode I said to you that I'm a believer, right? and look, and this is not the sort of match where I'm like, oh yeah, definitely now we're going to win. Like, that wasn't this match. But we, at the end of the day, we got what was most important. That was the 3 points. We are back 3 points ahead. Obviously, they've got a game in hand. By the time we play when we play Fulham, that's their first match, right?
They play on the Monday, don't we?
Yeah, because they won yesterday against Southampton. Shock and awe. So obviously they face Chelsea now in the final. But yeah, so by the time they play once in the Premier League, we would have played our second match, and that's Fulham. So again, look, it's in our hands. It's swung our way in that sense. Obviously, we'd rather be 9 points or 12 points ahead. That's not what we're talking about, right? That's already happened now. It's already in the past. However, this is exactly the bounce that we needed. We needed 3 points on the table. Hopefully get that to 6 points by the time City play. And again, that's adding pressure on them. I don't know how much I don't know how much that pressure is going to affect them. I don't know, because they are perennial winners, right? That's what they do. That's what the coach does. That's what he's trained to. I feel like he goes into this little locked room where he sort of gathers all the senses from above. Do you know what I mean? Just to win or something. I don't know what he does to make the running look so easy, and just to make his players look so nonchalant when they're playing. Fucking Cherky, the way that he cut through us last week was like the most fucking nonchalant play I've ever seen in my life. It's like, and even his celebration was just like, that's what we do. That's what worries me, by the way. That's what scares me. It's like, yeah, it's what we do, and that is what they do. So, but yeah, so for us, yeah, the 3 points was 100% top. I don't care about no clean sheets. Obviously, in this instance, we managed to get one. Don't care about clean sheets. None of that stuff. I just need them 3 points on the table. And by the time, like I said, by the time we play Fulham, hopefully that could be 6 points. That's all we need. We need City to either lose one match or just drop points in 1 or 2 matches from now on. And then we just need to do our own thing. Like, we can't control what they do. But as long as we go out there and win, which I know what we're asking, by the way, because, was it the last 3 league matches we lost before the Newcastle game? Or was it 2 matches before?
2.
2 matches. So obviously this could have been the 3rd one, but, we won this one. So 2 matches. And then we're expected to win now 4 in a row. It's and the Champions League in the middle of that as well. So, it's a tough ask for sure. But again, it's a place where I'd rather be, rather than, a game in hand and maybe or may not get those points. So,
yeah. That's how we. We're getting to the stage of the season now where we have to really we have to appreciate what we've actually got in front of us, because we could be sat here now in Liverpool's position, Liverpool, Villa, Man United, Newcastle, whoever, all those teams that win the Champions League. And look where we're at. Look what potentially we've got now. All right, we might not win anything. It is bad, because we want to win them both.
It's bad. It's very bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But we're there, and we've been there for the last 3 seasons. So I'm swinging my.
Swing it to the good side. Swing it to the good side, brother.
I'm swinging to the good side. I'm hanging to the right and sometimes the left, but no. I think my opinions are changing of where we are, of what Arteta's done. Look, my opinion of Arteta is not going to change. I still think he's not the right man for the job, but I appreciate everything where we're at this moment, whether that's him, whether that's the board for backing him. I do appreciate the fact of where we are, and people can knock us and say, look, it's shit, we play shit football. Yeah, we do at times, But that's just the fear of not winning a trophy for the Premiership for 22 years, and fear does come with that. If we can get this over the line, then I think everything will change. But like I say, there's 4 games to go.
Yeah.
And like you say, to me, my opinions have changed slightly in what we should be doing and what we are. We're 3 points clear.
Yeah.
4 games to go.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, let's take everything into account of what's happened throughout the season. We could have been 12 points by this time, but like I said, that's already happened now. So we'll just concentrate on the positives. And this was definitely one positive that we could take and then just move on to the next one.
If someone said to you at the start of the season, with 4 games to go, you can be 3 points clear, how many people would have said? I know that if someone had said, "Oh, you could be 9 points clear with 7 games to go," but with still 3 points clear with 4 games to go.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, it's not the worst.
Try to be positive. Huh?
It's not the worst situation. No, absolutely not. But then again, like I said, just let's not lose sight of the fact that where we were, and potentially we could have had this league wrapped up by this game week. To be honest. But anyway, look, like I said, that's by the by. We bounced back. We got the win that we needed. That could potentially push us to win the league. So I can't have too many complaints. However, though, I will say this: if we go into the next season as Premier League champions and we still only pulling out performances like we have done this calendar year, that's not going to last very long. That title challenge is not going to last very long. So again, that's obviously a problem for after the season finishes. So we're not going to talk about that right now. But it's just interesting because I think it was maybe Martin Keown who said, if this team wins the Premier League, they're going to be unstoppable for the next 10 years. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. When we've discussed that before Keown actually said that out loud. We discussed that and we said no, it's too fragile for what it is for them to be doing that, to be dominant like City, for example. Yeah. So look, I don't want to get too much detail in terms of the performance because it's stuff that we have 100% said many times before. But there was a few interesting bits from the match that I did enjoy, didn't enjoy. Annoyed me a little bit, but at the end of the day, like I said, we won, so I enjoyed them all. Set pieces, Stevie. So I mean, look, we started the match, like you said, quite brightly. It was a sort of start where you think, all right, okay, we mean business here. We're going, we're pressuring, and we did pressure, to be fair. Like Havertz and Odegaard, they were doing their job up front, which is quite nice. But I think after maybe 7 minutes or 8 minutes, that sort of changed, and then Newcastle sort of came to, and they were like, right, let's not have these guys run behind us like they think they're going to. Let's give them a little bit of a push. So that sort of resulted into a few corners, and obviously we resorted to set pieces, not to necessarily win the game, but just to add that extra. So I think what Arteta's doing, or what it seems like he's doing, is he's going out there obviously with a game plan for his players, do your tactics, blah blah blah. If for whatever reason that's not working, then let's try and get a set piece goal, and then that could potentially reset everything. So I feel like the set pieces are used as a reset point for Arteta, whereas like, right, let's just try it. And I think these set pieces, the first 3 that were taken, that kind of set the tone. Not the tone, sorry, but that kind of set the reset point where it's like, okay, well, we can't beat them in the air, so let's just see if we can, do our groundwork, if you will. And the first 2 didn't really work. One of them was just got absolutely cut off by a defender. Nothing came of it. The second one, it dropped for Eze as well. It didn't come. Nothing came from that. And then obviously on the third one, that's when the ball obviously was received by Eze and then shot from the outside. Just a cracking goal, by the way. And it was interesting because when he shot that, you think, because the first one that he took was from his left foot. He shot that with his left. And then obviously less dominant foot, if you will. But again, it was good enough shot. It's I don't think it had anything to do with dominance of the foot or not. And then on the second one, he sort of positioned himself in a way to get the shot off with his right foot, and then obviously just curl it onto the far side. it's a very, very difficult technique to do in general anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? At any level, it's very difficult because you kind of hoping that the goalkeeper is not going to move with the ball or as quickly as the ball is to the far side. So, but this is what Eze does. You know, how many times have we seen him do this for Crystal Palace? I think he did this in the final, didn't he, when they won the FA Cup or something?
Yeah.
And again, this is what he's good for. And I've been listening to the normal Arsenal podcast that I listen to, like Arsblog. He usually has a guy who does a Crystal Palace podcast, HTLCO, I think it's called. And he was saying when we bought Eze, Andrew invited this guy onto the podcast, and the guy was saying, like, you know, this is what Eze is good at. Like, for the majority of the season, you're not going to get much from Eze. You're going to get certain bright spots from him, but you're never going to get like a consistent Eze. However, he said during the later part of the season, that's when Eze comes to his own, because he sort of like he can feel the challenge. And look, I don't want to say that that's exactly what's happening, but in the last few matches that Eze has played, he has been the brightest player on the pitch for us.
He's been the X factor, which I mentioned at the start of the season.
Yeah, and this is what we wanted from Eze, the X factor. But unfortunately, he's dealing with a manager who's very rigid and who doesn't really understand how to change players tactically. So unfortunately, we haven't got to see the best of Eze, and I don't really subscribe to this idea of him not being good for the rest for the majority of the season. I feel like if he's used properly in a good team that's got good surrounding cast players. And a decent manager in terms of like how to do attacking tactics. I feel Eze is good enough. Just let him do his own thing. And both matches that we've seen him play well, he's been a free roaming player. He started from the left, but where do you see him? Where does he score? From central, right outside the box, central. That's what he does. And again, I'm hoping that's something that Arteta has, you know, sort of thought about a bit more. On how to utilize Eze. I mean, what do you think of him, by the way? Like in terms of the last couple of matches.
I think it's spot on what your analysis of the corner, and I do think that. I'm going to praise Arteta and his coaching staff for actually doing something different in that game, because they were up against obviously giants at the back in Dan Burn and Botman, etc., etc. You know, they're all tall players, and they thought, you know, if you don't succeed, try again. And obviously it came off in the third attempt, which was pretty well executed, really. I mean, and even I think Paul Merson was saying in the Sky Sports studios that. Even Havertz had to lay, it was only a 4 or 5 yard pass, but it had to be inch perfect for Eze to actually get that strike the way he did. And Eze, left foot, right foot, you know, he's strong. I think he's predominantly right footed, but either foot, he's fucking amazing. And he's coming into his own. And I think if he'd have been playing it like that, or if Arteta had used him, I know he might have been injured, but if he got injured against Bayer Leverkusen, they kicked him all over the place. But I think if Arteta had used him in the right positions at the start, or even halfway through the season, then we may have been further on in the league. Who knows? But look, it's all in hindsight, etc., etc. But I think he is the X factor, and I think he is the difference. I know he didn't start off, and he has been playing pretty shit at times. I think he went through a patch where we were questioning his ability. We were saying, is he really that good? Is he doing this? And I think a few other people were as well. That you know, when you were looking on social media and in the mainstream media and things like that, I think a few other people were questioning that he needs to step up. I do think next season you will see a completely different Eze. I think next season he will be absolutely unplayable, unstoppable, and we will win so many more matches. But we will have to have the sprinkling of Kvaratskhelia, or whatever he's called. We do need we need upgrades on certain areas now, whether that's obviously up front Gyökeres, whether that's up front, whether that's left wing, because obviously I do think the left wing needs sorting out. Right wing probably is going to be okay. Whether we get Tonali or Anderson or someone like that, I think our next season will be Eze's best. He'll come and play. It'll be absolutely excellent next season. I know this season it's been a bit hit and miss, a bit stop start, because no one knows his best position. He's had a bit of injuries, and obviously he's just getting used to a new club, etc., and all the surroundings and his players. But he is coming into his own at the moment, which makes it even more. The galling fact is that Arteta took him off last week against City. He was the only one looking like he was going to score. Yeah, he takes him off and puts fucking Ben White and Trossard on.
That was terrible. I mean, the less we talk about that, the better it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't want to go over, all news and stuff like that, but he is our best player at the moment.
He is.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
He stepped up to it, mate. He really has stepped up to it, and that's what we wanted from Eze. He's a league player. He's come from a team from the Premier League, so I didn't think there was going to be any sort of bedding in time or anything like that. But unfortunately, when you don't really know what the best position is for that player, then it kind of makes it a bit more difficult to utilize it properly. But and I mean, we say that, but then if me and you can understand Eze's best position, then these managers who are getting paid X amount of millions a year to do this job, surely they'd understand it as well. And yeah, okay, look. We can caveat everything with, there was unexpected injuries. That's fine. That's great. But then again, the money was spent so we don't have those injuries, or we can minimize those injuries. And we still didn't buy players for the positions that we need, like the left wing, for example. We got Eze, but Eze, you can't tell me that Eze was a left winger. Right? Yes, he can play in that position, but he can start there. But his best role is to cut inside. That's what Eze does. He picks up a pass from the midfield, and then he can turn. He can turn. He's got acceleration. He can, he can jump into the box. So it's very difficult. I like the idea of Eze having a brilliant season next season, but yeah, that all depends on the supporting players. If we still have Martinelli and Trossard, then that's not going to happen. If it's only Odegaard without a change, then that's not going to happen. So people like Noni, he's going to be important next season as well, especially for the right wing. Max Dowman, Ethan Nwaneri, I hope both of them are staying.
Around.
Yeah, I genuinely hope that both of them are staying. And Ethan Nwaneri this season, obviously in hindsight, we could have used him. Yeah, he could have been utilised. And there was an interesting point that I heard from Ars blog, and they were saying, well, if this is such a problem. If this was if we're a team who historically, or at least since Arteta's tenure, we've had injuries at the wrong side of the season, surely you'd think, do you know what? I'll keep someone like Nwaneri because he's a very good player who I have used before, I have trusted before in big matches, and he's okay. He hasn't provided every single one of those, but he's a good player to put in. And now we don't have anyone. So when Odegaard's injured, then we've got Havertz. But then when you play Havertz, you don't have a backup striker for Gyökeres, for example. Or if you want to start Havertz, you can't, because you can't start Gyökeres in that Odegaard position. So yeah, everything is sort of, as much as, like we said before, we bought players, but unfortunately,
should have bought in January.
We should have bought 100%.
and we didn't last January.
And the January
seems
before
to be
that.
The theme, isn't it? Yeah.
And the January before that, we haven't bought in January properly for a long time. I think Trossard was probably the only one who's contributed. I think that was 2022, 2021, something like that, 22, I think. So yeah, we haven't. Again, January seems to be like a black hole for Arsenal, because it's like, do we not even entertain to sign someone? Like, does it have to be this Goldilocks player? No, we need players. Right, you telling me you can't scour around the Premier League and fucking get someone from Fulham, from Crystal Palace again? Are you telling me that? No, you can't tell me that, because you went and fucking got Norgard. Got Norgard from Brentford. You could have bought someone else in, or brought someone else in, who's actually a bit more effective.
But I don't sorry to interrupt, but just whilst my mind fresh, surely the backroom staff, the powers that be, whoever's in charge of the recruitment, should think to themselves, look, the last few seasons, we've done decent business in the summer, but come January we haven't, and then come the end of the season we seem to have these injuries that seem to disrupt our progression and push for the title or wherever. So surely they should think themselves, right, let's just have a plan. It's not fucking rocket science, is it? Let's do a decent business in the summer, identify what we need in the summer, and then in January, this is what we're going to try and get. Yes, I know you're not always going to get what you want, but you can make inroads, and these players out there, don't give me that shite that no one's available. It's the hardest market to buy players. Fuck off. Look what Man City have just done. They bought Semenyo and they bought Gay, right? Now, them two have galvanised their season really in a way, didn't they? I know Semenyo's been shit of late, but when he scored like 12 goals for them already, hasn't he? Something stupid like that. Now, you're not telling me that we couldn't have bought someone in January, whether it be a defender, whether it be a striker or a midfielder. We could have bought one or two players, knowing the historical side of our injury crisis over the last few seasons, because we always push our players so hard in the start of the season. which contributes to the factors that we get injuries later on in the season. And if you look at Pep and what he does, he times it. He times his players to peak at the right time, whereas we peak before Christmas and then we fucking go downhill after Christmas. So, it's not rocket science.
It's not, and I think that point specifically there, that just goes down to Arteta's inexperience. But I'm tired. I'm sick of using that word inexperience. I'm sorry, but he's been there for 7 years. There's some experience that must have been picked up, right? And before that, he was working under one of the best coaches in the world for 5 years, 6 years, whatever it was. So no, I don't want to use that. Yeah, I don't want to use that anymore. By the way, inexperience, because that's just complete bullshit now. And there's no more get out of jail free cards for Arteta, unfortunately. And again, look, I'm not just blaming Mick. It is obviously up down. No, that's up down turn around.
Up down girl.
Up down girl.
Billy Joel.
Yeah. No. Oh fuck's sake! What was I saying? It's not just up to him. Obviously, it's up to Andrea Berta, for example, and like you said, the backroom staff. So yeah, I can't pin 100% of the blame on him, but unfortunately, he's the guy who deals with his players on a regular basis. He knows what's missing, right? You can't tell me that he's watching these players in training going, no, that is a complete team now. No, it isn't a complete team, right? It just isn't. When we face City, like,
he must see the deficiencies and the difference in quality in everywhere.
Yeah, you can't just come out and be like, oh, we're matched. We're not fucking matched. No. What are you talking about? Like, we probably were matched, in September or something when all of our players were fit. But ever since then, ever since they started peaking at the right time, like you said, that's it. We can't match them for anything. Like, Cherki's better than Odegaard. Haaland is better than all of our fucking front four combined, by the way. So, it's not even close. And that's only two players. So, yeah, sorry, going back to this, to Eze and the set pieces, yeah, that was, like you said, that was just a very good out of the box thinking from Arteta and the coaching staff. And it could have just, he was asked about that, wasn't he, at the post-match conference, where he was like, well, after the second one, I can't remember who it was, Merson, I think it was, he was asking, saying, well, after the second one, the fans started booing a little bit, but you were still persistent with it, you still did it on the third time. And he goes, well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of trying something, and basically it was along the lines of, we were testing them as well to see what they would do. And it worked, it worked at the end of the day. Obviously, that second one that sort of got away, or the first one, sorry, that got away, that got intercepted, that could have ended in tears for us. Try something new, ball gets intercepted, then you concede. It's like, yeah, definitely don't want to do that. But no, it was good to see. And the fact that we didn't have Eze, Odegaard and Saka on the same pitch at the same time, did we? Or did we?
Yes,
we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Did have it, Saka and Odegaard on the same team.
That's right, yeah.
Same team. That's
right. So that was... that was good to see, and it makes sense when you see all the best players on the pitch, because that's how you're going to obviously gauge where the team is really. I mean, we can always make sort of points like, oh well, this guy was injured, this guy was injured. We can always put little caveats in there, but like at the end of the day, this is what three great players can bring to a team. We haven't seen it enough this season, by the way. Like, and we haven't. No, we haven't, have we? And that is the problem, that we haven't seen our best players on the same pitch very often. So, but yeah, no. Wrapping up on the set pieces, it's good to see that there is other stuff happening behind the scenes. There is other stuff that they are working on, and it's not just launch it into the box, which always helps. So, yeah, I think. Arteta, when he was asked about the performance, discipline and carnage were the sort of words that he used. And I feel like discipline, kind of, yes, it was there, but at the same time, I still wasn't comfortable enough or confident enough that we were going to do anything apart from the 1-0 to Newcastle. No, do you know what I mean?
I didn't feel as though we were in control.
No, I didn't think so either.
Obviously, I know we're at home, and yes, the weight of the occasion is probably getting to a lot of players. Are we tired? Are we wrecked? Are we exhausted? Probably yes. And that's, I think physically you're not exhausted, but I think mentally takes the physicality as well out of everyone. So I think that physically the players shouldn't be tired. but because it's mentally as well, it's having like a compounding effect, I think, on the physicality, if you know what I mean. So it's draining them because it's the mental side of it, and they've just got over the line every game. And yeah, you're right. We didn't look comfortable at all. It looked like if Newcastle really wanted to, if Newcastle had more to play for, like whether it was a Champions League spot, I think they would have probably beat us yesterday. They just weren't that. But don't get me wrong, they put up a good fight. I thought they did play well, because they'd lost the last fucking how many games in a row, and Eddie Howe is under a bit of pressure kind of thing. So don't get me wrong, they did put in a decent performance, but it was never 100% meaning everything like the league. I know, like the Cup's semi-finals last year, or was it the quarter-finals? I can't remember. And obviously the league game last year, they put everything into it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, they didn't have Anthony Gordon, they didn't have who else didn't they have? Lewis Hall, was it? I think maybe isn't it? They didn't have all the full team out, did they? Yeah. So the main one to me was obviously Anthony Gordon. Mm-hmm. I can't think of it. There was a couple of other players that they didn't have, Joe Linton, but they didn't have their full strength. And I dare say, if they did, they probably would have got something out of the game. So yeah, going back to what you were saying, we didn't really play well. We never looked like in complete control.
No. Players that they have injured, by the way, is Fabian Schär, Livramento.
Livramento was one, yeah.
Yeah, Joelinton and Anthony Gordon. So these are the guys that are.
Who's the left back? Is it Lewis Hall?
Left back. Let me have a look. 2 seconds, please. Hold the phone.
It's Lewis Hall. He's fucking been on fire.
Left back. Oh yeah, sorry. They had Dan Burn obviously playing, but Lewis Hall.
He didn't play, did he?
No, he wasn't even. No, not even in the squad. Like, not even in the injury list, by the way. Oh no, Lewis Hall. He was on the bench. Sorry, he was on the bench. Not injured. Yeah, but there you go. So he didn't come on. Yeah, that's a shame. And who did they haven't got? Pope. Yeah, of course they did. Which we'll get to Pope very, very soon, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. I agree with you. I didn't see any discipline from the team, to be honest. It was just a very, very workmanlike performance, just going through it, hard labour. That's what it felt like. Do you know what I mean? Watching, that's what it felt like. They were going through a bit of hard labour, so they weren't even enjoying it. But yeah, obviously Arteta, I understand that he has to come out and say this type of stuff. He's never going to, put his players down on under any occasion, really, unless you're Martinelli, and then he'll have no problem talking shit about you. But no, so yeah, I think as an overall, even the squad that he put out as well, I was still quite happy with that. I love seeing Kai Havertz play because he does bring something, but unfortunately on this occasion, he was injured. He went down injured in the 34th minute again, and I think the message that you sent was something along the lines of lanky, weak, or
paperweight.
Something. Paperweight. That was it. That was it. Yeah, that's right. Paperweight.
Abu Dhabi-esque kind of thing.
That's right. And he was a good player. Abu Dhabi was a very good player, but unfortunately he just got messed around with injuries. But so Havertz goes down. I haven't read much about what's happening with Havertz at the moment, no. So that's. Probably a little bit worrying, I'll be honest. Because he's a player that we definitely cannot afford to lose right now. And I know we've survived without him, but I feel like as soon as he's come back, I think he's given us something different to what Gyökeres gives us, and he's opened up a few more options in terms of how we play. But again, not enough to make a massive impact or where he's going to be drastically missed. He was still okay, like he's still all right. He's not bad, but he's not that guy. So obviously he comes off 34th minute, and then we get Gyökeres coming on. Can I be honest? He might as well just left one player less out there rather than put Gyökeres on, because that would have saved us from absolutely talking trash about him. Because my God, that guy is such a shit footballer, right? I think we've seen enough of him this season, right, for me to say what I've just said there. He is such a shit footballer, like in the general
technical self.
Oh my God, that guy is fucking terrible. I'm sorry, right, but you can't go by just going, yeah, I've scored 30, 40 goals in the fucking Portuguese league, but I don't know how to do anything else. Run, pass, running behind, fucking think about where the pass is going to go. He's just fucking terrible. And I think what cemented it for me, which for everyone else, I would guess it's going to be the same situation. That pass that run that he had down the left, and he could have made a pass to Saka, but he just didn't know how to complete that pass. I mean, I don't know, Stevie. Tell me something. Tell me, am I wrong? By the way, am I being too harsh?
Look,
I don't think I am. But go on.
What we've been saying all season about Gyökeres, he offers something different, and unfortunately, at this moment in time, he's suffering in confidence. Now, I get what everyone's saying, and I get what I've seen with my own eyes is that technically his touch is a bit like an elephant, a rhino, whatever, any kind of animal. He's not great. His touch isn't great, but you don't go from scoring, I don't know, 102 goals or whatever it was for 2 seasons to being completely shit. And he's looking completely shit at the moment. Now, I'm not buying that. I think there's some kind of confidence issue going on, whether he's reading the media, or he's reading reports, or for things are filtering through. Obviously, his players don't want to pass to him and stuff like that. I think he's a confidence player, and I think certain strikers are like that. The confidence players, I can't think off the top of my head, you might think of one in the meantime. But I'm glad you brought the Gyökeres situation up, because I want to switch my slight attention to Jesus. Why didn't Jesus come on? Is he's off in the summer, isn't he? I think he's got to be, because why didn't he come on?
He has to be. Yeah. He has to be off in the summer, mate. But and what was he going to do? Like, in all seriousness, what would
he's technically better than
okay, yeah.
Gyökeres,
I think that pass, he would have made that pass for sure. I think he would have.
Yes, he would have, wouldn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is Jesus. He's got to be on his way in the summer for him not to actually come on at all, or even just to be considered at some point later on, because 2-0 could be the difference. And I'd hate to think it would be the fact that we miss out by 1 goal, and that could have been obviously the Gyökeres pass, or I don't know. But look, his overall contributions is completely it's significantly dropped since, around about the Christmas time. I don't know whether that's just the whole team in general, but there was a still on social media, and it was, you might remember it was Odegaard. He had the ball, and Gyökeres was clearly through on the left, and he played it inside to maybe Zubimendi, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Gyökeres would have been the perfect ball in the channel, and he wasn't out wide. It was literally would have been in the penalty box, and Odegaard didn't play it to him. And now I'm thinking, why? If that had been Havertz, he would have played it. If it had been Trossard or Martinelli, he would have played it. Why are they passing to him? He's not that bad. He isn't. I'm sorry, he's not. 102 goals in 2 seasons, balls played like that. That would have been fucking meat and drink for him. Sorry, but I know what you're saying. I know what everyone's saying about Gyökeres, but let's give him a break.
No. Look, Stevie, I'm not gonna be like, let's get rid of him in the summer, right? I think there's still more to come from him, and I can live with that, right? There is more to come from him. However, yeah, confidence is definitely a part of it, because he spent the last 2 seasons being one of the best strikers in the world, or being considered as one of the best, and then obviously all of a sudden he's not. So you could put some blame on the player, but at the same time, being the first season and then playing that many matches and being relied upon that much. And when I don't think that was ever part of the conversation. I don't think they said to Gyökeres in the summer, they were like, right, you're going to start every single match, or you're going to be my main guy. I always think that position was always going to be split between Havertz and Gyökeres. So the fact that, yes, he has played a lot of matches, and maybe because he doesn't have that athleticism, maybe he needs more of a rest or more of a recovery than other players do, which is totally fine. But just to make, or like not to make that specific pass where, I'm sorry, right, but
it was amateurish, wasn't it? It was very
it was novice, right? It was less than amateur. It was fucking novice.
Neanderthal.
Exactly. It's like, you're a school child, mate. No, it was frustrating though, because that could potentially. What if that's one of
the goal differences?
Yeah. What if that's one of the reasons why we don't win the fucking league? And I'm not going to just blame it on Gyökeres. Obviously not. That would be just totally unfair, because Havertz missed a couple of fucking chances against Man City. But I'm just saying, like, you know, if you're not doing everything else correctly, at least do some basics of a pass. It's not even a cut-through pass. Do you know what I mean? It's not a cut-through pass. It was just pass it out to the wing, like sort of curl it round, if you will. And then Saka would have been on it, and I have no doubt that he would have finished that. But yeah, I feel like at this point of the season, when we need players to really fucking step up and do the basic jobs properly, right? I thought that was just diabolical. It shouldn't be allowed, to be fair. But at the same time, I can also appreciate that he is our highest scorer in the league right now with 12 goals. So yeah. I can totally appreciate that, and I have no doubt that next season is going to be better. But just the same as Eze, they'll need the better players around them to actually, you know, to help with the runs or to help with the passes. Odegaard's got his own issues, man. Odegaard's trying to fight for his own bloody place and position and captaincy. As much as, you know, Arteta puts him in straight away whenever he comes back from injury, that doesn't mean anything, right? That doesn't mean anything to me. It's like you still need to prove yourself. So yeah, maybe Odegaard's on the wavelength of, well, if I pass to him and he loses the ball, then it's my fault, because people will be like, well, he shouldn't have passed to him because you know he's not tactically good. Do you know what I mean? I know it's a bit convoluted and a bit far fetched, but again, these could be things that players think about. It's like, if I pass to him, he's going to lose it. So. But yeah, Gyökeres, my God, man, honestly, it just really made me mad. That situation really did that moment. But yeah,
was that the 82nd minute or something?
Yeah. I mean, that would have been just a proper seal.
A lot of stress
done.
We could have even gone on and scored another, then, couldn't we? After that,
exactly. And it would have been Saka's goal coming back from injury, which would have been just the cherry on the cake. Really, would have been fantastic to see. Because when he came on, by the way, he was very, very lively, and he was very good.
And I think I mentioned to Buck, didn't I, on a, whether it was a text or whether it was on one of our last pods, that I feel as though we've missed him, Saka. He brings that next kind of, to me, it's this analogy, if you want to call it an analogy. I mean, when Popeye used to get his spinach, I felt like when Saka came on, it was like Arsenal got the spinach. Genius.
Yes. Love it.
Genius.
That's very good. I like it. Yeah, we powered up. I love it.
We just felt a lot stronger when he came on.
And look, whether he does anything like to influence the game or whether it's just his presence, you know, there is things.
I think it was a bit of both, wasn't it?
I think so as well. Yeah, I think so as well. And it made a lot of sense when he came on. Everyone else started clicking into place and started, because if he feels more of a focal point, as much as we've had our negativity against Saka this season, he is the focal point at the end of the day, right? Gyökeres is not that guy. Havertz was never that guy. It's always Saka is the focal point. And what that means is
he's not as good as Salah, but it's like when Salah was in his pomp, when Salah would come on, it was like, oh my God, Salah's on now.
Salah's come on, yeah, exactly. And no, absolutely. And I'm not saying that Saka's forgot how to play or how to score goals. No, he literally he will do that. And I have no doubt that from now until the end of the season, he will be a massive factor in if we're playing well, to be honest. But yeah, so when he plays, 2-3 players go to him, opens up for everyone else. It's honestly as simple as that. Even Saka in his weaker state, he is still the guy that defenders will want to mark, because you know he can bring something dangerous. And again, yesterday he absolutely proved that. So it was just a shame that, you know, I think that would have capped off a very good performance, to be fair, from Saka. If he scored that goal from
he might not have scored as well.
He might not have scored.
Rusty, you know.
I just feel like
we could have been having a different conversation about how fucking shit he is.
Exactly. Look, this is the beauty about football, and this is why podcasts and journalists and stuff like that. It's always opinion based rather than fact based. You know what I mean? Because you just don't know what's going to happen in the upcoming match. Or in the match that you're watching, you just don't know what's going to happen. You know, you could be winning 1-0 and then all of a sudden it's 3-1 by the 95th minute, right? So you just don't know. So again, this is why we like to take a day between podcasts, just to, you know, regain our thoughts and our brain cells. But yeah, look, Havertz injured, Eze injured as well, but I saw him at the end of the match and he seemed fine. He was walking, he was on the bench still.
Precautionary, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but you never know still, do you, with Eze? Because it's all right, I'm saying precautionary. Maybe he just doesn't want to get kicked to fuck in Madrid, because they were going to kick us to fuck. And I hope Saka doesn't play, I hope. But I know he's going to play his strongest team, and that's the worry, because they'll get kicked to fuck. Because you remember when City went there a couple of seasons ago, I actually felt sorry for them. I know I never do now.
I know. I remember that match. I remember that match. They were very, very brutal. And that's just the way that they are, to be honest. So probably Gyökeres starts that, right? Because obviously
Yeah.
Havertz is injured, and I'm pretty
Definitely,
sure
yeah.
that he's not going to be able to maintain any physicality against Atletico Madrid. So I think Gyökeres plays. Eze starts if he's fit. Saka starts if he's fit. I know you said
Martinelli
obviously
probably.
Martinelli probably will start as well because he's just quick and he can track back as well. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting one in Madrid, to be fair. But we'll come back and do another pod after that. But just to wrap it up on the game and for this particular episode and Pope now. What do we think? Red card or no? Your opinion, Stevie.
So I think no. Are you agree or not? The reason why I'm saying
me
no,
why, yeah.
I mean,
tell us why.
look, there's two ways of looking at this. He purposely struck him down, which I'm getting that, right? If he'd have handballed it outside the box, it's a red card, right? He wasn't the last man. There was and they're the rules of the game. If there's another man that's back or could potentially stop him from shooting to get, I think a yellow card was the correct decision. There's no way that if that was a red card, they wouldn't have overturned it. And I think they looked at it, didn't they? And they obviously said, look, no, he's back, not a red card. Oh, go on. I know that. Go on.
Okay. So I think initially,
Convince me otherwise.
well, this is the thing, right? Because when you watch it, you could make the argument that Gyökeres stopped and then started running again. But the only reason he stopped is because
He didn't think he was going to get the ball.
well,
Yeah.
Pope jumped in front of him, right? It didn't touch him at that specific moment, but obviously that's why Gyökeres stopped. And then he started again once he realised that, oh shit, Pope doesn't have the ball, so I'm going to... And I think for me, that's where the red card comes in, right? Because if it happened in the first motion and Pope sort of took him out with the ball sort of thing, then yeah, I can understand where it's a yellow card because there was a defender. Chow was there. Regardless what happened, right? Chow was always there. Like Gyökeres didn't have a clear run at goal, and I'll be honest, I don't even think he would have got that ball in a foot race against Malik Chow, right? I don't think he would have got that ball. However, according to the rules, is okay. The first instance never brought him down, but when Gyökeres did the second run, Pope visibly took him down. Right? And that he had no eye for the ball there. So I feel like that's where the red card should come in because the way that Pope took him down the second time, he had no interest in going for the ball. He was like, right, well, Gyökeres is going to run past me here. I'm going to take him down. Right? And I think it would have...
But it's not a red card because it would be, if it was a player that did it, it'd be a yellow card for any other player. I can get what he's saying. I understand the fact that there was a double movement.
It was the
fact that
intention,
he
though,
missed
wasn't it? It was the intention
Doesn't matter
of
though,
Pope
does it?
taking
If
him
it had been
down.
a player that did, if a player had done it, would a player have been sent off or would it have been just a yellow card for an outfield player?
It depends how the player would have took him down. If it was just a shoulder barge, no, I don't think it would have been anything. If it was a tackle, then yeah, I think it would have been a red card because again, it's the intention of going, I'm not going to let you run through. Even though, and what made it worse, I feel, was the fact that the defender was there. So in a way, Pope didn't have to actually do that, right? He didn't actually have to take him down. Because, like I said, I don't even think Gyökeres would have actually won that ball, to be honest with you. But obviously, ref and VAR would have never known that because the play stopped, and obviously he was impeded going to the ball. So for me, but initially I didn't think it was a red card. I was like you. I thought it was a yellow card, and I think I said it in the group as well. I said that's a yellow card, and it even looked like Gyökeres diving. But then you see it from the other angle, and you think, oh wait a minute. Gyökeres actually went again for the ball here, but then Pope specifically went to take him down. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like Pope was running behind him trying to chase him or whatever. He specifically dragged him down. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I feel like that's a, in a way, it's not violent conduct, but it's well, how would you say it? It's not violent conduct because obviously there wasn't any breakage or anything, but it was conduct that it was specifically designed not to let him go for the ball, which I feel like that's where the red card should have come from. I don't know. I know what you're saying. If a player did that, but it all depends on how the player tackled him. Like if a defender came and sort of shoulder barged him, yeah, fair enough. You're not going to get. I wouldn't even expect a yellow card there. But the fact that Pope actually took him down, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
it's a bit.
I don't know if it was in the Wolves-Tottenham game. It was a very, very similar instance. and I think it might have been the Tottenham Wolves game, and one of the Tottenham players brought down one of the Wolves players, and very, very cynical, purposeful. Yes, it was a Tottenham game, and I think you may remember it, and it was a pure. He was through on goal, but there was a keeper there. And he wasn't the last man, so it's kind of like, I understand. It's just the interpretation of it, and I do think that. And there's been cynical fouls done all the time on the pitch, and they're all just yellow cards, regardless of whether it's violent, dangerous, or whatever. Unless it's like a two-footed thing, then yes. And I think if Pope had done something like that with his feet, then yes, I think there would be no argument.
Of course.
It's a grey area, isn't it? And I can see where you're coming from, but for me, I just think it was a bit harsh. But I can see also Arteta's point of view. I can see both sides of it, but for me, I just think it's a bit harsh if you give it. But anyway, that's why we're debating it.
No, of course, and I know Arteta came out and he was like, "Oh, it's 100% a foul, it's a red," and blah blah blah. And look, like I said, I can make my peace with it being a yellow card because I can see why the yellow card was given. But like I said, because of the way that I interpreted that situation, I feel like there should have been a red because he specifically took the player down. Obviously, I know what you mean. Any other player on any other sort of part of the pitch doing that sort of thing is always going to be a yellow card. But yeah, I don't strongly agree with Arteta going, yeah, that's 100% a red card. I've watched it back 10 times and all this stuff. No, I don't agree with that. But I feel like if maybe it happened at the other side, at the other end, and we did that foul, I feel like that could have been a red card, right? I think, was it Saliba who did that with Evan Nilsson, Bournemouth match last season before?
Yeah, but
that was kind of
he
similar.
was the last man though.
But he was far away though, Stevie. Do you know what I mean? Whether he would have made that or not, and you can't say the last man when the other man was on the line, but a bit further to the left. Do you know what I mean? So he wasn't clear on goal.
Yes, I know. But it's a grey area. And if it's a grey area, I think it just goes with the referee's decision personally.
Which is fine.
If it's more like 60-40 or 70-30, then I can see there would be proper, disagreements and anger. But I think it was a 50-50 with the Saliba one, personally.
Yeah, no,
but anyway,
and that's fair. No, that's absolutely fair. And I was watching, I think it was the Liverpool match, and Salah was taken down in the box. I don't know if you watched that, but I mean, I don't know how he didn't get booked, by the way, how Salah didn't get booked, because that was just a fucking dive, by the way. The guy went in for the ball, didn't even touch him. Salah pretended to fall, stood up again, ran a little bit, and then fell to the ground. And it's like, how are you not giving this guy a yellow card? That was a terrible, terrible move. But anyway, you're right. It is. Look, and I don't think I have any complaints about the referee yesterday. I thought he did a decent match, in all fairness, overall. Like, I didn't see any controversy from the ref. And even this, I wouldn't class this as controversial, by the way. Like, this whole thing, it is just open to interpretation on how you see it. But in this case, both VAR and ref were in agreement, and it didn't step in. So, and do you know what the funny thing is? Even on here, on the note that I've written, Pope red card, I don't think so. Right, I've literally written that out, but I'm just trying to argue against myself. I can't do it. Don't argue against myself.
I love that. Yeah,
I don't think so. Literally,
are you arguing in Albanian?
In Albanian, absolutely, because I have to make it interesting. Do you know what I mean? I have to feel like a different person. Goddamn foreigners. But yeah, so I don't have much else to add to the match, mate. To be honest, it was a good win that was desperately needed. And a good way to bounce back. Obviously, City won 1-0 against Burnley. We won 1-0 against Newcastle. But for us, it's always, the goal difference. But it never comes up with City, does it? Like, when they win 1-0, no one questions, the goal difference may come into play.
Yeah.
But as soon as Arsenal win 1-0, it's like, that goal difference is going to come into play. It's like,
absolutely.
It has to. So this is why I said to you last week, where I've turned into a believer now, because I just want these people to shut the fuck up once we lift that Premier League title.
Shut the front door.
But yeah, is there anything else that you want to add to the match, by the way? Anything interesting that you've...
One thing on the match, I've got a couple of other bits and bobs that we can talk about. But yeah, I mean, obviously, given the fact that... I don't know what your perception of the game was. I mean, I might have mentioned it in a couple of comments in the text that, we're going for the title, right? And I just think that the urgency, the tempo, it didn't give me the impression that our lives depended on it.
Nope.
You know, it's all right, Arteta coming out and saying, no, this team are going to give everything. To me, it didn't look like the team were giving everything. It didn't look like it was, imagine this is the last game, and if we win this game by 2 or 3 goals, we've won the title, we haven't won. So the players weren't really that bothered. It's like, yeah, the 1-0 up, but they were hanging back, backing off. Come on, get in it with them. You know, this is... I don't know. What's your take on the urgency and the tempo?
I think the first message that I sent, I don't know how long in the match it was, maybe like a few minutes into the match, and literally my comment was that we have absolutely zero urgency about us, and that was just the first thing that I said.
Yeah.
Where is it all? Corner routine is mad. That's good. Sure, so no urgency at all. So this was like around 7 o'clock, so just before the first half finished. And it showed me. It showed. And the thing is, I'm not that surprised anymore. I'm not surprised. That's why I didn't want to bring it up earlier in the pod, because it's just been that way. I mean, we played a final. We played a final against one of the best teams in Europe, and we still didn't show up for it. There was still no urgency. So I was not surprised against Newcastle. Like, I'm not surprised, even though it's needed. It's a necessity for us to go and be confident to win and comfortable to win. They're still not showing it, and that's
it's like
the worrying
theme,
part.
isn't it? Of these last 18 Premiership games. I think up to Christmas we show urgency, we show tempo. This is the fact of winners and losers. Like, you know, like we set off like a steam train. And then come Christmas time, it's kind of like we're just sitting back. We've like
run out of wood. Yeah, run out of wood to burn. That's what we've done. There's no coal anymore.
There's no coal, or it's kind of like a recurring theme, isn't it? And a bit concerning, really, the fact that we are like running on empty, that everyone seems to be alluding to.
Yeah, I think putting that much, and we feel lost if we don't score first and early. We feel lost, and that's why we're seeing a lot of the performance that we have, because teams are not going to let us score first anymore, right? That's not going to happen anymore. They've figured out how we do it and how we make our runs. They're not going to let us do it anymore. So now this is the different tactic. This is where they need to come in now. But yeah, it's no surprise, and I guarantee when we go out and play against Atletico, we're going to be exactly the same. Zero urgency about us, nonchalantly playing, but not in a good way, where it's like, well, we're not that team. You know, we are not that team. We are not Barcelona 09 or fucking Man United 99 or whatever it is. We are not those teams. Okay, we lack confidence, and every single one of our players mentally, it just seemed very weak when you compare it to the top teams like a Bayern Munich, for example, or even Inter Milan. Do you know what I mean? Those players, they're not weak mentally. They can go out there, they can shut out certain aspects, whether it's media, whether it's family, whether it's fans or whatever. Yeah, they can shut 100%. It out. Yeah, they just need to go and get the job done. And unfortunately, we just don't have those players. And that needs to change. Whether that's from the manager, again, we're going to come back to it at some point when the season ends, and hopefully we could talk about renewing Arteta's contract. For some of us, obviously. You know,
maybe it might. This mentality thing is probably going back the 22 years that we haven't won a major title, and it might all change, might it? Like, if we do manage to get over the line this year, I think if we don't, then is it going to continue as theme? That's why obviously Arteta's getting questions. You just don't know, do you?
No, I think, and as we've said before, though, mate, the judgment will come at the end of May, and I think we said this very first episode of this season. We said that, you know, we're going to try and reserve as much as we can of our opinions until the end of the season. And again, yes, we've discussed it. We've talked about different topics, whether it's Arteta's tenure in the future, or whether it's coaching staff, or this and that, or players, or whatever. But again, at the end of the day, we won't know until the end of the season, because that's what's going to dictate where we go from there. So as much as we can speculate on last episode when we talked about where does that leave us, you know, that's all that was. That was just speculation, because nothing's over yet. And again, tonight we won against Newcastle. Sorry, not tonight. Last night we won against Newcastle. So that's a step in the right direction, you know. And even though we predicted it, it's still, that doesn't mean that we know what's going to happen. So yeah, we can only make educated guesses, and this is, as we've said many times before, this is why we are the way that we are, because we are letting our past history dictate our future. when it comes to Arsenal. But that's the only choice that they've given us, really. They haven't given us anything else. But yeah, different bits and bobs, Stevie, before we leave?
Yeah, a couple of things.
Yes.
I'll finish off with the better one. So, with regards to Timber, hello?
A bit of positivity, go on. Is he there now, Timber?
He is.
You're trying to get him
Timber,
out?
what do you want?
Timber, get out of here. That's Stevie's dog, by the way. He's
No.
called his dog Timber, so there you go.
I think I'm hoping. We've massively missed him, haven't we? Massively. I'm hoping he comes back soon. I don't want him to come back with like 2 games to go because it'll take him like 2 or 3 games, I think, to get up to speed. Is he saving him, do you think, for the Champions League if we get to the final? Is he saving him now, or for the last 2 or 3 games in the Premier League? Because no one's come out and said what's wrong with him, have they?
No,
I don't know whether it's
haven't.
calf or groin or whatever, but no one's come out and said anything. So are they saving him?
Could just be as simple as that, mate. Yeah, you could just tell him, say, look, you need to recover. We need you for more important matches, and yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously, against City, that would have been the clear indication of what they're doing with him. But the fact that he didn't even play against City, you know, it could indicate that it's going to be a little bit more serious rather than saving him for the different, you know, for the upcoming matches. But at the same time, maybe it just wasn't ready for the City match. And what's the point of obviously, you know, endangering the player when you can just wait another couple of weeks and then have him perform well against a weaker team? I'm not saying Fulham are weak, by the way, because they can beat us. That's, you know,
they can.
They can. So, you know, let's not underestimate those. And again, when you look at the remaining matches,
They just beat Villa, didn't they?
yeah, they just
At Villa,
yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
No, it was at home. Sorry,
Was it at home?
Yes, it was.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
they were
Yes, it
at
was.
home.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, it was. I just had
So
it.
it's still not an easy game, and they beat them 1-0.
So there you go.
It's not going to be an easy game, is
It's
it?
not going to be an easy game, and I was just going to say, like, yes, we are facing teams below 10th, but that doesn't mean anything. Like West Ham, for example, at the end of the season, they
could be-
as we said last episode, didn't we? That could be the most important game of their season.
Yes.
Against
we could
us.
relegate them, or we could win the league.
Exactly.
Kind of thing. It could be as bad as that. But
Exactly.
let's not talk about that just
Yeah,
yet.
no, of course. We did touch upon it briefly, but hopefully we don't
Yeah.
have to have that conversation the closer we get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with Timber, I mean, what a welcome addition he is, by the way. Like, please, as soon as possible would be great. We get Timber, Saka, Odegaard's playing. Obviously, forget Havertz.
I don't think we need to risk him for the Fulham game. I'd like to think that the home game against Atletico would be a nice game to bring him back.
I was going to say,
if possible.
leave him where he is for the away game at Atletico.
Yeah.
Potentially Fulham, if you want to put him in like last 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Just
Yeah,
to
but we don't
get
need to
his
risk him. I
juices
think
flowing.
Mosquera or White potentially should have enough for them. But
I think Mascara should be good enough, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Maybe even, I don't know, maybe even give Gabriel a fucking sit down, man. Just give him a breather.
well,
Do you know
put
what I mean?
Calafiori, long liability in.
Calafiori and Capia can do a good job there
Jimenez,
as well.
though.
That's also a good point. Saliba, I think Saliba and Mosquera together would be strong enough.
Should be enough.
Yeah, I think so. And again, if we have Hincapié on that side, he was, like I said, for me, he was man of the
Good.
match
Very
against
good.
against Newcastle. I know these guys put Eze because he scored, but for me, he was 100% Hincapié.
Yes.
Such a
he
good
played well.
player.
And I
Relentless.
think he'll be good for us in Madrid. That
think so as
kind
well,
of
yeah.
mentality be exactly like them, effectively.
I think so as well. And same as I think Zubimendi will probably be a bit better in Europe as well. Look, as much as we've said that he hasn't had the best performances as of late, but we need to understand that he has played the majority of our matches.
Do you think he played well yesterday?
There was a few...
Or did he just do one of his
No,
usual...
I thought he was all right, especially in the air. By the way, there was a few moments where he won a lot of headers, and I was like,
did, yeah.
that is very surprising from Martin Zubimendi.
he was only up against Guimaraes, though.
It doesn't matter. And Guimaraes, yeah, he wasn't that good either yesterday, which was good for us. But I think
First
he just
game back, though.
Yeah, he just came back from injury, didn't he? So I don't care.
Would you have him? Is he an upgrade to Zubimendi?
No. I don't think so. I don't think so. No, I think
he is.
The only reason I'd say no is because of his hot-headedness, and
Yeah.
I don't like that. I genuinely don't like that because that is a liability for us. We had David
Would
Luiz.
you have Tonali?
Tonali's good. He's a good player. Would I replace him with Zubimendi? I mean, would I replace Zubimendi for him? I don't know. I
Is
don't
he
know.
a backup to Rice?
Yeah,
Is he a good compliment to give Rice a rest? To give them both a rest?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's how I'm thinking.
I don't think he'll settle for that, but yeah, absolutely, he would. If that's an option, then yeah, bring Tonali in because he's a very good backup to Rice. I think so anyway.
Very similar, aren't they?
Yeah, very good players, and I like it. I think Tonali's a bit more technically better, a little bit better than Rice. Yeah, but Rice has got the engine side of it where he just runs and gallops and tackles people.
Yeah.
But that would be a good addition, to be honest. And if Newcastle don't do well this season and Eddie Howe leaves, yeah, I think we should go and try and raid them.
Sounds like we're going to raid them for a few, like Gordon, Livramento, Tonali. I'd have them three.
Livramento's a good one. Gordon's a fucking excellent addition for the left wing, by the way. And I think Arteta would get the best out of him. But yeah, for me, Tonali would be the one to get, to be honest.
Yeah. If he would accept as Rice's kind of 60-40.
Do you know who I always like as well? And I know I'm going to contradict myself. Joelinton. I really like him as well. And I think if he was at the base of our midfield, he's the sort of guy where he's like, right, guys, right, I'm going to do all the fucking fighting, yeah? Do you know that? Did you ever watch Peaky Blinders? There was that scene with Tommy Shelby where he goes, no fighting, right? Yes. That's literally what he's telling everyone, but then he goes and fucking fights everyone. Yeah. So I think
absolutely. I mean, he's not like a household name as such. He's not like the glamorous sort of, Mbappe, Arda Güler kind of signing, but
he's an effective fucking player.
Like Joelinton, I've always every time we played against him, I thought to myself, fucking hell, he's had a good game. He's had a good game.
Yeah. I hate him, but because he's so good.
Yes, I'd have him. That's what I mean. He was missing yesterday, and it was evident, wasn't it? But their midfield yesterday was better than ours. I think it was after it was Gary Neville that was kind of alluding to the fact that he was saying that they dominated our midfield, and this seems to be the theme, and this is what was getting frustrated. The fact is that it was like, where's our midfield gone? It's like we kind of either play all up front or all at the back, and it's nothing in midfield, and that's so frustrating. And it was so evident yesterday that their midfield had the better of us with Guimaraes and Tonali.
With Rice and Zubimendi yesterday, I feel like they were too deep to the point where even Odegaard was coming in deeper to pick up the ball. But usually that's not where Rice likes to play. He likes to play further up. But the problem is that if he's not trusting Zubimendi at this point in time to do the defensive work, or trusting his defenders to do the defensive work, because, as much as we like both of our centre-backs, they do have some mistakes in them, especially Gabriel. He does have a mistake in him. And last week against Haaland was fucking example number one, really. So I think playing that deep, you're not utilising Rice to the best of his ability, and then you're removing Odegaard from the midfield to come and pick up the ball deeper into our own half. And again, that doesn't work because we didn't have enough players to make those runs in behind. Like, Havertz wasn't going to do that. Gyökeres came on, he tried to do that a couple of times, he just couldn't, he wasn't effective enough. Who did we have on the left? Was it Martinelli who played on? It was Eze, wasn't it? So sorry, yeah. So Eze, obviously, like we said, he was the only bright spark because he could do things himself. He's not relying on others for a pass or for a run. He could literally pick up the ball and then go and do it himself. But when you're taking out three midfielders and all three of them are deep into our own half, what do you expect? And this is why Newcastle had majority possession yesterday. They killed us in possession. But it didn't matter because luckily for us, it didn't do much with it. And we were, that one goal that we scored, we were just a little bit more clinical when it came to it. But look.
Yeah, what did you think of? I think there was a moment, I can't remember when it was. We'll quickly wrap it up. But there was an Odegaard moment where I don't know who he was getting frustrated with. He was trying to tell someone to get into position, and I remember the camera just kind of stayed on Odegaard, and he was telling someone to either get back or to watch someone, and he shook his head because they weren't listening to him. I can't remember who it was.
I'm pretty sure that was Rice, I'm pretty sure.
Rice?
I think that was Rice,
I thought it might have been Martinelli, but I don't know. We'll have to look back at it and maybe
pretty
we'll find
sure
out.
that was Rice because the camera was close on him, and the way that he was looking, and then when the camera zoomed out, that's the only person I saw in that line of sight.
Yeah.
But
But is that Rice being absolutely fucking exhausted? Like
Yes.
all being said, you know,
Yes.
he just can't run anymore.
Yes, because Rice is looking at Odegaard going, right, you're the fucking captain, mate, but I've played more games than you have, and you're doing fuck all for me right now. And the fact that you're dropping deep to pick up the ball is not helping me.
Dropping back
because
all the
he's
time.
pinning everyone back. Like, he goes and picks up the ball. All right, now what? Rice doesn't have the fucking, what's it called, the energy to run up and down the field like he used to before, you know? So you have to adapt. And Odegaard needs to, like, you know, he needs to remember that he's just come back. He's fresher than everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're not performing and you're expecting Rice to still do that run that you want him to do, like for pressure wise, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So no, I if that was the case, which we'll, like you said, we'll confirm. But if that is the case, then I'm pretty. Yeah, I don't agree with Odegaard there. To be honest, he needs to go and do that job as well, because Rice is absolutely knackered. And I know that's not an excuse for a professional footballer, but when you played the amount of games that he has, you know, he's human at the end of the day, as we always say. Mind games will always come into play as well. And because obviously he hasn't played very well, he's been getting a lot of hate messages on social medias. Not just him, but his fucking girlfriend / wife. That's going to play on people, mate. And he's like, well, why am I fucking playing for you idiots who supposedly supporting me, but then you're going out and abusing me and my wife? So, look, there's many factors that have to be taken into consideration when it comes to players and what's going to determine if they play well or not. Physicality, yes, it may be the main part of it, but let's not forget all the other incidentals that make up everything for a player. So, yeah. I think Rice is knackered. I don't blame him for being frustrated, and I just really hope that he sticks with us, to be honest. That's where I see Rice.
We've said it for a while.
Yeah.
We've said it for a while about Rice, and we've said that, you know, I think I don't know what January time we were both talking about, you know, if he does get injured, and he hasn't. He's missed a couple of games. He's never been out for a prolonged period of time. But we've always said if he gets injured, you know, we're snookered. And this is why, you know, someone like a Tonali would be an excellent addition to just give him a break.
Mikel Merino, mate. Mikel Merino. I know we discussed it. I know we did. And just real quick, he is the guy to potentially fill in that gap. I'm sorry, but
too slow.
I know, but he is right. So you don't play him like a Rice position. Then maybe you swap him with Zubamendi. You make Zubamendi do the runs. So
What about Norgard?
I mean, 56, 59 minutes, however many minutes he's played in the Premier League this season.
Shocking,
what does that tell you, right? That doesn't fill me with confidence.
That tells you that the reason why they bought him is doesn't stack up, and whoever wanted him, whether it was Berta or whether it was Arteta, they fucking need shooting.
It can't be Arteta, because if it was Arteta, he would have utilised him more. I don't think it was Arteta.
We don't know, do we?
No,
we don't know.
No, we don't.
Listen, let's just I'll quickly wrap it up.
Yep.
So, just a quick one on. Man City. I'm just want to talk about Man City, because they're our closest rivals at the moment. We can only finish in the top one or two now. Do you know that we can't drop any further than second? So it's first or second this year. So when Pep took over, I think City were kind of dominating for about 6 or 7 years. He didn't take over then and suddenly started dominating. They'd won the title with Pellegrini, Mancini, so they were there or thereabouts, whether it was 6 or 7, whether it was 4 or 5, I don't know, you might know better. So Arteta's been with us for 6/7 years now, hasn't he? And he has had us challenging for the last 3, you would have thought, 3 years. So give him another 6 or 7 years, the same as Pep. Will we have won the Champions League, and will we have dominated the Premiership in the next 6 or 7 years? And this is what I want to get to at the end of the season. We'll have this discussion, whether we win it or whether we don't. But when you think about it, we aren't doing too bad. In the grand scheme of things, everyone's like, fucking hell, we should be winning the Premiership this year. We should be winning it. We shouldn't really. We're close. We're getting there. We're dominating and we're progressing. But should we be winning it?
We're not.
Possibly.
We're not doing bad, of course not, because, you know, we've from 2017 at the very least up until Arteta took over, we were just very, very bad. But I mean, if you give, I don't know, I mean, if it was me and someone asked like this question for real, like in terms of for me to make the decision, no, I wouldn't give Arteta 6-7 years more, because I'm sorry, but you've improved us, but you've had enough time between improving and okay, all right, let's just say the first 2 years that we had challenging, let's say they were unexpected, right? Let's say we were ahead of schedule there, right? But what about the last 2 years? Do you know what I mean? Like, what about the last 2 years? Surely that was enough experience in the first 4 years of you being our coach. Now you should have, we should have won something, right? And it's not even like we're entitled to it. No, we should have won. Maybe last year, obviously, when Liverpool won, because they went ahead a bit more than we did. But the 2 years prior to that, we were very, very close. We lost it in this sort of region of time. Like, this is the time that we lost the title. So. No, I wouldn't. I mean, yes, we are doing well. We're doing a lot better than, obviously, than what we were beforehand. We've been second for 4 years. Maybe, so this could be the fourth year of us being second. But at the end of the day, I mean, shit. How long is that going to last, right? How long are you going to be second for? How long? Who's to say that this isn't Arteta's peak and then everything else is just going to downgrade and we're just going to go down further? I don't know.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know the answer. All I'm saying is that Pep came in. He's been in there like 9 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
And yes, he's won virtually everything, and he's dominated the Premiership. And he's, it is what he does best. But what I'm saying is, if we bring another manager in, if we finish second this year and Arteta goes, and we bring a Luis Enrique or someone like that of that ilk, then we could potentially then go on to the next level and win it for 2 seasons in a row. Like Pellegrini and Mancini, they didn't come in. Did it take 7 years? They won it virtually for the neck. I think Pellegrini won it the first year, didn't he?
Second year, I think, wasn't it? 2011.
Or was it Mancini? I think Pellegrini.
Mancini was.
I think we did it on that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire question.
Did you?
Yeah, and I think Pellegrini won it in his first year. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that yes, Arteta could be the man that this season we could win it, and fantastic. I hope we do. But yes, is he the right man to take us forward for the next 5 or 6 years? Who knows? Is he the man that's just going to get us to the almost promised land, then someone else comes over and takes over and wins the next 3 in a row? This is the $64,000 million question, whatever it is, isn't it?
64,000. No, I get what you're saying, and I think, I don't know, man. I just feel like enough time has been given to him to prove something to us,
You could argue either way, couldn't you?
Yeah. No, of course. And again, I'd love to sit here and be like, yeah, well, there you go. We stuck with him. He won us the league, so happy days. But again, we'll wait and see, and we'll have that conversation at the end of the season.
Yes.
And we will leave it there, mate, because we've been going on for almost an hour and a half, so I'll try and get this edited and out for the people. Right. Thank you so much for being with us, for listening, and stay safe, stay alert. Stevie, do you want to send us out, my friend?
Au revoir. Oui, oui.
He's all right.
CC and I'll leave it at you.
All right, that was our sponsor, the Drunk Italian. Thank you very much. Grazie, Amelia.
All you dreamers out there.
Brilliant. Right, we're going.
Bye.
We're going.